Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, good time of day, good whatever it may be for you. Um, Welcome back to the LAMDA log. Friday, week 7, day 5, the 6th of March, 2026. We started with the good old ensemble singing. So we learned and discussed a little bit about the way that different people sing, right? You can have a glottal onset, which is where your voice comes first. You can hear it like uh oh, uh uh uh. So you have that like voice first, not the breath. Then you can have aspirate onset, which is a sigh. Ah You can hear it as the air first. Right? But the goal, what you want, is a simultaneous or a smooth onset, which is both at the same time. And you just kind of have to like open your breath. A way you can think of it is plug your ears, which I can't really do at the moment, and just breathe out of your mouth. And you'll normally hear it. You'll hear the friction of the air passing through the voice. And so you want to open up your throat in a way that you hear no noise. Uh, 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 uh. I don't know. And so then you can kind of practice that. Apparently, there's a tilt of the vocal box, the voice box. But we did that. Then we worked on our come from. Wait. Oh! It can. This also can come from a place of like revelations. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Right, and that idea. It's interesting that we used an H because H is very aspirate. Hang on, hang on. Anyway, I digress. So then we worked on our Hades down. Whoa, keep your head low. Oh, you gotta keep your head low. If you wanna keep your head, oh, you gotta keep your head low. Keep your head low. Oh, you gotta keep your head low. If you wanna keep your head. Why do I turn around when I'm probably bleeding? Shout out Sandwich. And it was all about just that idea of building on top of it, doing the 3-part harmonies. We didn't have a ton of time because we worked a good little chunk about that that beginning, just kind of walking around and listening to ourselves, or moving. We didn't walk a ton, and then we got into our groups and we practiced that. Oh no, we walked while we were learning our 3 parts. We were reviewing those 3 parts, and then we got into our groups. We didn't have a ton of time, and we threw something together. And it's probably not the strongest thing we've done so far, but we did it. And then we all joined into one circle and added it, and added all kind of 3 of our discoveries together. And something that was good was take your work seriously, don't take yourself seriously, because I don't think we were all too proud of what we did. But he said it was good. He's like, don't laugh at it, because what you did, you had some good work in there. Next, we're going to work in very small groups of like 2 or 3, singing Where or When by Rogers and Hart. So that shall be fun. And we had screen acting. And I love Charles so much. He's such a master teacher and a brilliant person. I'm fascinated by him. So today's lesson has a little space for agency. First, he reviewed our notes that we were given, and he gave 3 notes. There was a note about the slate, there was a note about the performance, and there was a technical note. And he said that the process of watching and reviewing all of the tapes took 7 hours. And it wasn't to be like, oh, I can't believe you made me do this or anything. But he's just like, just for transparency, so you understand what, 1, in the industry it takes, and 2, what he did. Um, and he thanked us for our submissions, and he could see the time and care that it took. Our homework will be our next self tape. I believe it's Project ITV. Then we checked in. How ready to work do we feel out of 5? I give a 5. How industry ready is our self tape? I said 3. And how active was I in the silence? I said 3.5. And then the self check in was also, what can I, and we took some notes on this, what can I improve on my self taping process? I said, book a room, make a specific plan, kind of be more intentional about it. 2, what can I improve as an actor? I said, sit longer with the text, try different choices, and see how they read on the film or on the video. And then what can I improve technically? Lapel mics. I did not like my sound. An LED light for a second light source. Think about getting more lights. I bought an LED light and some lapel mics, so I've already done that. But sound is my number one priority. And then we are starting with reflection. We need to do more reflection. And then he gave some general notes. Don't rush the slate. That's your opportunity to show the team who you are, right? What is standard for the slate or the ident is your name, your agency, your where you're based, and / where you can work. And then only if anything else is specified do you do that. Like some people are like, they're my hands, or other things. We are nope, I said that. Stakes can always be higher. I wouldn't be filming this if it weren't life or death, right? Look for the risky points of no return, right? Like the kiss, for example, in the first self tape. That's a point of no return. You can't overcome that. And what if it's their first kiss ever? You know, not just as a couple, but as people ever. You know, and how does that affect them? These words can't be taken back, right? That's the point of no return. This action can't be taken back. Be open to the discovery in the moment. Okay, then we learned about phenomenological acting. And so phenomenology is the study of consciousness and being in this world. So some key practitioners are Husserl, Heidegger, Merleau-Ponty, and Zerilli. And Zerilli really takes it from the point of view of an actor, so great person to look into. Key concepts are fixed point. Our bodies are our fixed points, and all of our reality is based on our senses. What do we experience based on our senses, right? Then there's objective, subjective. Our ourselves is an action is a subjective experience. It's invisible. It's you're not thinking about, okay, to move I need to my brain to tell this thing. You're just doing it, and it's not thought. It's not an object. It's a subject. And then everything outside of yourself is an object of some sort. Even people, like not to objectify or anything like that, but it's you can't know that anyone else is conscious or anyone else is a true person, right? But we assume those things. Then there's intentional nature and attention's driven by sensation. We talked about that a little bit. So the window into the world is based on our physical senses, right? Acting, connections, psychological gestures becomes invisible or veiled through research and rehearsal. What is in or out of the frame, right? So kind of he put 2 lines, and I'll get to this in a second actually. And then our whole reality is observing objects. We are just inferring consciousness. Merleau-Ponty says, my body disappears when I am in action, right? Because you don't think about it. It's just you're doing things. It's totally outwardly focused. Focus on the action and you cease to be self-aware. Language pulls me from subjective individual image to being objectified by another. Not in a negative, like, demeaning way, but just as in, if someone says, oh, I like this about you, then you objectify yourself and you're like, oh, what is that about me? Whereas, like, I'm just living my life. So think about it like when you flip on your camera and it's on the front facing camera and it's like, oh, that's how I'm perceived. That's what I objectively look like. And then Merleau-Ponty also said, there is no sensation without attention. So you can't feel or experience anything unless you're paying attention to it. Chekhov says the psychological gesture never walks on stage. And so that's all a rehearsal process, like the push. And then that's all internalized. So that you can do that and maintain that feeling on stage, right? Okay, then he did this chart. So there's visible on one side and invisible on the other. Visible is the same as objective, and invisible is subjective, and we're all on this scale. So visible is like mocap, and that's a sharing experience. It's where it's very clearly physical, and then the invisible is the subjective. It's the tasting experience versus the sharing experience, and it's like performance capture. It's naturalistic, right? And on film, we're looking a lot for the more invisible, but something can be too invisible or too visible, depends on the medium. But film, you want a sweet spot where you can still see what they're thinking and experiencing, but you still have that. What am I saying? Yes, you don't want it to be too in order too subjective. You still want to be able to show it, but it needs to be pared down and be more naturalistic. Subject is how I perceive object. Objective is how I am perceived, right? Brought awareness to breath, then self, then outside of self. We just did a little exercise. Before we examined, we also examined our hand with the other hand to kind of bring objective feelings to ourselves, because you have to recognize that you are yourself observing yourself. And then our tapes had Chekhovian movement, and you want to tend them, to let them grow, those Chekhovian movement, those inner things, right? You want it to be able to continue. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me either. Then we had a rotation. That's the word I've been looking for all weekend. The rotation. And so we had a large LED screen that was hooked up to the camera, and our little video village. And he said this was like a film set that we're going to kind of work in that. And so you could sit there and observe. There was the filming itself. There was a seat for the person to read off stage. There was the seat for someone to be filmed. And then there was the camera that Charles was working. Then there was a table on the other side that was, I'll show you a picture of it too, was the reflecting area. And he had papers there to write down so that you could share with others what you experienced. And then the back side of it was for active observation and kind of observing yourself and that stuff. So it looked a little bit like this. So there's Video Village here. This is the camera, the seat, the actor. This is the table with the papers, and then this part was the active observation. Yeah, and so it was reading and supporting to being on camera, to reflecting to active observation. And that's kind of the rotations we made. And then we took our time rotating into being filmed and reading. I reviewed the lines and a good bit before to make sure I got it, because I'm a little slow on lines sometimes. When I went the whole human experience, this was something that Charles said. He said because I mean, let me step back. He, as he kind of directed me towards it, he said, "What is it that your character wants to say that they can't?" And I said, "I'm sorry," even though that's my last line. And so the last two kind of lines and moments is there's a kiss, and then my scene partner says, "So this is wrong," and we didn't physically kiss. We just there was response or reaction to it, and then she says, "So this is wrong," and then I say, "I'm sorry." And Charles said that the whole human experience occurred before I said sorry. Let let myself feel those waves of emotion and experience wash over me and affect me. My scene partner was wonderful. Just gave a lot just with her eyes, and I could really work with her. Let myself tell the stories of the whole plays between lines, right? There's whole plays that happen between lines. There's ups and downs, and don't rush to the next line, experience it, and live actively in it. Don't just wait, but like, what can you find in there? Charles told me to think about what I wanted to say. Um, and he also told me to watch the reader to not miss a single micro gesture or feeling on her face. So a fun little interesting thing was we all kind of whispered our scenes, and is that what they're looking for? No. Um, Charles said afterwards that audio would have been like, well, we couldn't have used any of that. So good work, run it back. But that's not what he was focused on this time. It was just really focused on the connection. And then the first thing was to feel the wall and center myself. So I leaned up against the wall and I kind of centered myself and my body, focused on my body to get myself in it. And then for the kiss, we did we did well, and we just kind of felt the sensation. So that was a question after we had all filmed. Will I sneeze? But we all responded as if we felt the sensation. So that's what you're looking for. And then think about if this is their first kiss ever, right? How does that change things? And think about your scene partner as your counterpoint for volume control and how to be loud enough. For tech, let tech worry about the tech. Okay. And then can I connect to the invisible ridness? I don't know what that says. It looks like RID ness. Nicheness? Can I connect to the richness? That was close. Can I connect to the invisible richness and share it? And then what do I say and what don't I say? There's a line, I have to go. It might be I love you, right? And how do you convey that? And then we're experts with tempo and timing, Charles said. As we learn it, we need to be messier with timing, right? Because that's the director's and the editor's job. We need to just really kind of lean into things. And Charles would have watched us struggle to say things for 15 seconds, which is usually an unforgivable choice. But there is more to squeeze out of these silent moments. Explore the Canvas resources as well. Our homework is to watch at least 15 of the tapes, review formative feedback, our 3 notes, record our Project ITV by noon on the 11th of March, this Wednesday, rehearse the script for class, write what it said, write what is said and what is not said for the scene. And for gaming questions, check Canvas and get the book to read, The Art and Business of Acting for Video Games by Julie someone. There is so much to learn, and Charles is the perfect person to teach it. So competent, yet kind and understanding. Just thoroughly impressed. Then we had lunch, and then we had practical voice. And practical voice was a struggle today, and I don't know why this day. Because I was exhausted. Halfway through class, I felt like I was going to fall asleep standing up. I was like, what is going on? I just did not have the energy. But we did a little overview. We did a check-in, movement, and sound. And everyone was kind of dead. So we did it again as our 7-year-old self. We did like a telephone pass a gesture game where you went, and the next person, and then it changed a little bit. And the point was to stick with the one that you received and to see how it changed or stayed the same. And then we had a 10-minute independent warm-up, and then we had a short guided warm-up. We paired up and we opened up our chest, our ribs, and then our partners leaned on here, and we thought about only breathing into that pressure. And so to really expand our ribs, and then they did it twice on each side. And then we switched place in the room for like everything we did. And then we did a little warm-up, pair-up. Oh, yeah, we switched for our warm-up, for our pair-up, for our breathe against the vacuum. Oh, which was another thing that I don't think... Oh, yeah, so breathing against the vacuum is you breathe out and try to breathe out all of your air, and then you plug your nose, and then you act like you're filling it, like if through your nose, and you try to create that space in your ribs and really expand it so that when you unplug your nose, it just fills it rapidly. Yeah. Our homework is to bring a scarf next week. That's important because we're going to try to do that pressure thing without the hands, but individually. I don't think I own a scarf, so we'll see what I bring. We did the breathing exercise where right, which we do a lot. And then we did it on a sh and a hum and an alveolar which is we did it with our tongue out. And then we did it on vowels. Ooh, oh, oh. And then our tongue flat. And so we just practiced that a lot of different ways. And then we did the volcano exercise. And we we tried to bubble up and really try to feel that blow up. Then we massaged the space between our nose and our cheeks right here. And then we hummed and focused on our nasal sound. And we were like, me, may, my, me, like an annoying kid. And getting childish, like, nya, 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 nya. And progressed into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And explored that a little bit, really focusing on resonating in the mask area on this sound right here. And it was rough. And then during the 30-minute break, I laid down just right there on the ground, and I took a little nap, and it was nice. And then we had embodiment with Anna and Rosie, and we began with questions and review. We added I reach, and I yield, which are 2 more psychological gestures we didn't talk about. Also, I stand my ground. And we reviewed the other psychological gestures. We got into our pairs, and we were given, we gave and received. So almost every psychological gesture has a response. So if I push, then I pull. And an important aspect about this is that it's a full body experience, right? If you do something small, that's not the whole thing. You want your legs and your whole body into it as well. Um, and then we were given 2 pictures of Chekhov's drawings. And then we got with our scene partners, and we um, we took our pose as much as we could. I'll show you the one I did. I did this. I think it was supposed to be to the chest, but I came out here because I couldn't tell. And then it was just up on my toes a little bit. And apparently that was supposed to be, I don't know. I haven't bought into psychological gestures yet. I get the idea, but it hasn't been working for me. That was supposed to make me feel closed off and reserved, but I felt powerful and like a sentinel. Um, and then we were moved, and then we repeated it 3 times, and then we did it inwardly 3 times, and then we did some lines to see how we felt with it. We said yes. First we did it 3 times, and we said yes, no, a word from our script like moron, and then a whole line. You magnificent, marvelous woman. It's dark in here, but you still glow. But your eyes still glow. I should know my lines better. And then, yeah, and then we practiced with each other as well, doing that kind of same process. You do it once, the actual physical thing, always leading with your inner body, like so you imagine yourself doing it, and then you follow that. And then doing it 3 times, and you really want to hold it too and feel the energy, because Anna was saying that the direction of the energy is what is important, but I struggle to just like stick out my hand and feel energy come. So I don't know, I struggle with it. Then we returned to our text and thought of a physical gesture while we said the line to our partner. Like, we went through the whole process. And then they had their back to us. And so the partner turned their back, and then we did the physical gesture, and they guessed which one it was. And I wasn't good at guessing it. I don't think I'm super open and receiving of this. But yeah, I did everything twice because I have 2 partners. And then that was the day. And I was going to work hard and get to stuff and then go to bed early because I had headshots, which I'll share. Maybe I'll share the ones I choose after they're edited, because I'm not supposed to publicly share the raw images because they don't reflect the photographer's work well. But yeah, so, but then there was a alumni performance, so I went to see that instead, and then I got home late. But yeah, it was a good day, and now it's Monday, week 8. We're getting into it. So hope you guys have a wonderful day, life, time, evening. Bye.